Bunch of napkins around. Donkey with ace-king off. It's always a good feeling to have ace-jack and then ace-king back-to-back. Raising it up to 130. Lawrence B, king-queen off. Thing about Lawrence B, you probably recognize him because he took down that 50K a couple weeks ago for over 35 grand. He's stacked for this game. Going to make a pretty standard call on the cutoff with king-queen off. Scott's going to come along with his existing investment, queen 10 off, and Milkman's going to complete his straddle for 3-4 off. Ace king 5. There's Lawrence B's got the nut spade draw. Donkey flops top 2 pair. A monotone board decides to check it. It'll probably come back to Donkey. Got Milkman make a pretty easy fold, and now Donkey's got a decision about whether or not to play a check call type strategy here or check raise and essentially communicate the strength of his hand. He's reaching for some chips. He might want to try to charge those draws early on. Yeah, 17, 25 total. So now Lawrence has got 35% equity. He's got to call 1,400 more with his nut flush draw and a pair. There's a chance he could come over the top. I mean, he probably understands that Donkey's got a pretty big hand, but Lawrence B also knows he's drawn to the nuts right now. Hits, scoop a big pot. Donkey's got 9,300 in his stack. Lawrence B could reasonably double up here if he hits gin, turn of the river. Taking a look at the chat. We've got 162 people watching now, and we've got a bunch of people in the chat. Mitch, games look so good in Texas. Yeah, they are as advertised. Anderson, howdy y'all. Howdy Anderson, a frequenter of the Austin stream. And if you haven't checked it out, Austin does TCH Live Sunday nights, Monday nights, and I think Thursday nights. Again, great action down there. Great action at all the TCH locations across Texas. Dallas, we were fortunate enough to get the Tuesday night spot to stream this massive 5-10 no limit hold'em game. And this game plays like this all the time. So y'all come down here if you haven't. We got full tables at TCH Dallas. If you haven't checked out the new room, please stop by. You will not regret it. Mitch, yeah, in Canada, 5-10 buy-in is 2K max. Yeah, I mean, this is uncapped. We're playing, this is more like a, I don't know, 25-50 type game. Nell Harris, got to move back to Dallas now. Poker, yes. Dude, yeah. This is about to be the Mecca. Austin has a bunch of great rooms currently. Houston has a bunch of great rooms. And Dallas is on the up and up. This room is setting the tone for poker in Dallas, and there's no slowing down. We got a big game here. This is a $7,000 pot with a pretty safe card for Donkey's top 2 pair. And Lawrence basically, he picks up a straight draw here along with his pair and spade draw, so he feels like he's got a lot of equity here on the turn, but he also has to call, basically he has to call his entire stack drawing. Now he's considering, you know, could this guy also be making a move with some kind of pair and spades? Because if he's got a pair and spades, might have some significant equity against him. Or is this guy have just a dry ace-queen and is trying to charge draws? Can't hear the commentators very well. Sound is too low. Is there a way we can turn the gain up or something? Sounds like the commentator, it says they can't see the... Anderson, I'm watching while playing at TCH Austin. Nice. We'll get the sound squared away. You know, so he did end up calling. I wonder if they're going to run it twice. Looks like they're going to run it once. And Donkey is going to scoop a $9,300 pot with ace-king. Lawrence B got it in there gambling. You know, if he hits his 10, if he hits a spade, he scoops a massive pot.
Let's see. Daily tourneys at TCH Dallas look interesting. Never mind the 500K. Yeah, I mean, the daily tourneys are just as juicy. I've played in a couple of them. They really good structures, really good turnouts. I mean, some of the daily tournaments, $130 turbo. Take 3 or 4 hours in first place will take $2,500 or $3,000. Pretty nice return for a $130 buy-in. Who is the main commentator? Depending on who you ask, but my name's Ben Kirby. This is Tommy. What's your last name?
Ho.
Tommy Ho is guest commentating tonight for our inaugural cash game stream. He's the brains behind the operation. He actually knows how to play poker. I know how to run my mouth incessantly and follow the chips and cards that are happening on the screen. So 4-way action with some legitimate hands going to a flop, king, 10, ace. So this is pretty significant. Will flops a pair and a Broadway draw. YG has pocket jacks and a straight draw, and Scott has a flush draw. Donkey has napkins for now. YG is in there considering in the cutoff. I mean, this is a pretty saucy looking board. Pocket jacks don't exactly feel super strong. He wants to thin the field a little bit.
I think he has a bet. He's betting there because he doesn't want Scott to bet, and he has enough equity to call to go to the turn, but he doesn't have to want to call bet.
Right.
I think it was a blocker bet.
Yeah. Yeah, which if used correctly, blocker bets sometimes will make you roll your eyes like, come on, dude, you're blocker betting. Like it's very obvious, but sometimes they're very effective in order to get what you want accomplished. So Scott's going to put the pressure on YG, and it's probably going to get this through. I mean, YG has third pair on ace, king, 10 facing a re-raise on the button. Granted, a lot of flush draws are doing this on the button, but also there's a lot of value hands that are doing this as well. But the pre-flop action, it just went limp, I think.
If, let's see how the hand goes. I think YG is, well, obviously put him on a play. But I'll go to YG's hand in a little bit after this.
Okay. Mike Youngblood in the chat. What up, Mike? Just got home from broadcasting some ladies college volleyball, doing some real broadcasting. I learned from the best. Mike Youngblood. What's up, man? Shout out to you. You didn't know his last name, WTF. I just met Tommy. He just came in here guest commentating. This is his first day in the streets.
Yeah, it was.
We're getting to know each other.
It was a random thing. I was just playing, and I thought because I knew these players. I know a lot of these players, so it would have been fun for me to guest comment on these players versus a tournament where I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah. No, this has been fun, and it's been super helpful. If not just for my own game, I get to see 10 players worth of hold cards and get a 2-5 grinder's perspective on some of this higher stakes action. So it's helpful to me. Thanks to the 654 people that are streaming currently. This is crazy. Let's keep it going.
So let's go through John's maybe potential thought process. Well, we could eliminate aces, kings, and ace-king from YG's range. So his range here is only straight or bottom set here, or maybe a flush draw.
Yeah.
So those ranges really can't stand three streets of barrel on this, especially if YG has a straight, he'll probably make a play. So YG calls here.
He jams.
Well, blockers. He's playing the blockers.
He
does.
I told you. Yeah, he can't have a Broadway. Yeah, it's very unlikely he has Broadway.
YG's basically saying that John cannot have a straight here, and he has to overshove. If his only play is to overshove. Otherwise, anything else would if he calls, he cannot shove the river because the pot's too big. So he has just enough to shove, and the theme came up, blockers.
Yeah. Nice play. I mean, this is he picked the perfect spot for, maybe not the perfect spot, but he picked a pretty good spot here to jam it in right here because he pretty much knows where he's at.
Yeah. So if you go back to YG's hand, like earlier, he had pocket jacks, but he 3-betted.
Yeah.
Earned in an early middle position versus Scott. I think it was Scott, right? Donkey. It was Donkey because Donkey has a 6-2 offsuit.
Okay.
So whereas here, Will raised and he flatted. in position.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in general, this is a spot where YG would probably 3-bet squeeze with this kind of hand because maybe my GTO's not good enough. Where I assume because of 2K stack or something that he is a good 3-bet and then get it in on the certain flops. But the fact that he called, you have to kind of make him into note and see what his approach is, why he called versus 3-betting.
Yeah, and this is tough for Scott. He's considering a call here, and oftentimes if he's calling here, he could easily be dominated with a worse flush draw. So, but he's in here gambling, and he's live. He's got about 20% equity, and we're playing a $7,000 pot with a Broadway draw and a flush draw, but YG doesn't realize how good of shape he's in.
Except, YG's probably be like,
He doesn't like seeing him call.
no,
there.
YG's like, oh.
I wonder if they're going to run it multiple times. So River 8, pure for YG. Yeah, looks like they're going to run it at least twice. And the River is a 6. And so YG is going to scoop a $7,300 pot with third pair onto the next hand. We're playing 5-10-75 under the gun straddle.
So I was a consultant for Donkey out there. I would probably tell him, hey, you need to just, now that you're running hot and you got the stack, you just limp 100% of your hand and play that way. Make it mix it up and then
Make everybody question where you're at. Yeah.
Mix it up that way. So hopefully he does have a consultant and they'll tell him to start limping 100% of his range.
That's a good idea.
For a little bit, just to mix it up because that would throw people off and make the game different.
Yeah. I like that. Let's see. Checking back in on the chat and all the chat pros with their exquisite poker analysis. I think for me, I find pastrami to be the most sensual of all salted cured meats. This is very applicable to the topic at hand. Cindy's Deli is delicioso. Pasta sugar. Mike, thanks for sticking with us, man. Glad we haven't completely turned you off since you're a real broadcaster and we're a bunch of noobs. And for those that don't know, you can catch Mike Youngblood Sunday nights, Monday nights, and Thursday nights on TCH Austin. That's a really good stream. Joined by Aaron McAvoy, AA Ron. Pocket deuces against pocket kings.
3-bet pot. Gonna.
Let's see. Taco 3-bet was.
Yeah.
So he's had a lot of big hands now that he's shown a few bluffs. So he's got pocket kings in the hijack, 3-bets to 700. Scott calls with pocket deuces. Flops, bottom set. This is like the ideal situation for pocket deuces. Both of these guys have pretty similar stacks. This could be almost a $30,000 pot if everything plays out. So Scott's not waiting around any longer. There's hearts on there. There's straight type cards out there. So he wants to charge any of those draws. Wants to protect his bottom set. Taco could easily assume that Scott's making a play here because that board doesn't really connect well with a 3-bet range. But he knows that he's got a pretty big hand in the hole, and so he's just going to call here.
And he doesn't have any hearts, so this is where we talk about unblocking. So that means that there's potential for a flush draw out there now.
And then, and so all the Scott could easily, not easily, but could be check raising with his flush draws, pairs, and a flush draw, ace-8 of hearts type hands. And so Taco wants to keep him in there for that.
Depending on how much Scott bet, he might be able to get Taco in the river. If he bets too small, then Taco's gonna be able to fold the river. So he has to be able to size it to the point where he gets Taco to commit. If a heart doesn't come, and Taco put him on a missed flush draw.
Interesting, yeah. So it looks like he's gonna bet 2,800. And
which would
Taco's not folding for 2,800 into 5K.
No, and then I think Scott. So the flush don't come. That will give him Scott about a pot-sized shove here, and it's gonna. It's a 50-50 chance because of the missed flush draw and the unblocking that Taco might have to call.
Yeah, so you're saying if a heart comes, it could potentially allow Taco to get away.
Yeah.
Or especially if it's like a 9 of hearts, where straights and flushes get there. And Scott's also not chilling by any means. Like he's got bottom set here, and I'm sure he's not totally chill with his position. Like it feels good to have a set, and knowing that that Taco 3-bet pre-flop, you can probably put him on a reasonable range of hands. But still, this is a lot of money at stake.
Tough spot.
Yeah.
I think Taco's thinking if he had a heart, it'd be easier. Just one heart. Just give him one heart so that he could at least unblock some kind of flush draw.
Yeah.
I mean, block a flush draw.
Mitch, height, hecht, easy fold. I don't know if it's an easy fold.
Not easy fold because of the high level, because there's so many draws out there. You have 8-7 of hearts, 8-9, Ace-8. Like, it's you can say marginal. No matter what, this is why these are tough decisions, because no matter what, it's a marginal decision.
Oh, it looks like he's gonna fold.
He's folded.
This is a huge fold then, but it's an exploitative fold. And he said Scott's gonna be a gentleman and show him like, hey, you made a really good fold there.
Yeah, you're capped at 500 buy-in, so it's very challenging to try to win. Whereas here, you could win. Like this is not a standard 2-5 where. So the challenge to win star was different than any other challenge that I had.
Yeah.
Where you go to even Choctaw, you could buy in. So that was part of the most interesting part. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know that. So they probably like, 2-5, well, not that hard. But
yeah.
when you can only buy in for 100 deep, and you got to build up a stack. And
that takes some time.
Yeah.
And I remember in the old days when some of those 2-5 games, I would walk by. Some of those stacks would be insane. It'd be all red chips. Like nobody would play with, at least at the 2-5, 10 years ago, they would play with all red chips. So it would just be these massive stacks of red chips.
Yeah, because so I started out as an online player, and when I converted to live, I was one of those guys that didn't change chips. I just wanted to accumulate and have massive stack chips. And then after a while, you're like. You started playing this. You just went, this is silly.
Yeah, because especially to make big bets, you got to declare, I want to bet $800 and then put out 8 stacks of reds.
Yeah, and then it slowed down the game and everything. And then, so the coolness wears away after a while. I mean, you realize like, man, this is this is less productive.
For sure. So this is the second time Leland's been re-raised in 2 hands. He's got pocket 7s, which is an overpair for sure. And Milkman has finally hit a hand here. Trip 4s. With a 3 kicker and not wasting any time to raising it up an additional $550. Leland's considering what to do here because he most likely is anticipating facing another bet on the turn. And there's not a ton of cards that help his hand other than a 7 or a 6.
So I play with Leland here enough to know his tendency, and I think that if Milkman continue to bet small, Leland will pay him off. But if anytime that he bets too big, Leland will go away because.
So this is
I think that was a bad.
Yeah, I guess if you know what you know about Leland, you want to continue to value bet. But now, maybe he's doing the thing where he's acting like the queen hurt him.
I'm surprised that Leland bet this. Like I play with him enough, but I don't see him making this kind of move often. So it must be because he's on TV. I know his range is enough where. He's gonna call down more, and he's gonna pot control because he just want to go to showdown. So
Milkman's gonna call.
And
what do you do on the river here? Do you risk checking?
No, Milkman should bet here because
name is price.
Leland is gonna check here. So because if he checks, I guess unless he puts Leland on a bluff.
So he checked.
He checks.
So this is the best feeling is when you have trips.
Yeah, insta call. So let's break it down and see with the options versus checking versus betting, right?
$6,000 pot.
Yeah.
And I never promised to be an expert at the game, but promised to commentate the action, and that's about all I can guarantee you. Tommy actually has some insight into the game and it's some of the meta of the players. And so that's a helpful additional dynamic to the stream. But we appreciate you all tuning in and providing your super insightful commentary on this mid-stakes 510 uncapped 2-card PLO game. So we got action going. I think it went another $20 straddle on, and then Will raised it up to 60. Whose card? Yeah, are those Will's cards or Braxton's cards? It's hard to tell. So we've got 6 people heading to a flop.
If the one thing you want to know from here is that Braxton raised early, and he only raises to 60.
Okay.
That's one thing you want to keep in mind in this hand.
So pretty.
Is an anomaly. It's different.
Yeah. Small sizing for this.
Yeah.
For this game.
So if you were to make a read on it, well, Braxton is probably small sizing. Well, it's most of the time it's big bet, strong hand, small bet, weak hand.
Mm-hmm.
So now, okay, well, he had a weak hand, but a king bet, so he can't have ace king there then, right? They eliminate ace king from his hand. I didn't see him bet pre-flop raise enough under the gun, but I would see him betting bigger to eliminate more calls. So he probably has a weak king or a flush draw. Would be you would to put him on a range right now, like maybe king jack or king queen, king 10 suited kind of hand.
Yeah.
So when he's half pot,
350. My only commentary, it's really silly to call this a 5-10 game. Yeah, if it plays more like 10-25, I'd say, at least, which is awesome. I mean, the blinds are essentially irrelevant.
I think Donkey's going to make that diamond play here. Because he has to put Braxton on a king. So here we go.
Oh, so that's a diamond, so that's a really good bluff card for Donkey.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is the paired card. And now, you hear the pots, he probably has to bet like, I think, 2,500.
Yeah.
To get Braxton. Because Braxton doesn't.
Because that's half a stack.
Yeah, so he's blocking the 9s with the boat. Braxton he could have pocket 3s, but he can't have pocket kings. So he has to have like a weak king or maybe a flush draw. But I don't think he's betting on the turn. He's not betting into 2 people with a flush draw, so we can eliminate that. So his range here is what we kind of king jack, and here we go. Yep.
Nice, dude. Way to forecast that, man. That's impressive. So there's a good chance of this getting through. What does it look? 1775. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. It has to get through because what is Donkey representing here?
Yeah, he's been betting the whole way.
He called the bet the whole way, right? He called, and then the flush hit. So he's not calling a gut shot, 2 streaks.
Oh, you're saying Donkey called the whole way?
Yeah, Donkey called the flop.
Braxton was
bet.
betting the whole time.
Yeah, and then Braxton raised under the gun and bet. So but there's a leveling war where Braxton knows Donkey knows what he has.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you're obviously saying that
Yeah.
you're trying to tell me that you have a flush. Do you actually have a flush?
Dude, here it goes.
And is it cheap enough?
It's a paired board. Now we're stuck marginal spots again. It
looks like he's going to make this call. I think it might have been a little too cheap.
I think
being results oriented.
Cheap. Yeah, he had to go like 2,500 or something.
Racer Nerd, will the low stakes games ever stream? I imagine so. I don't know if it's on the roadmap over the next couple months, but I imagine other people enjoy watching low stakes as well. I know that TCH Austin usually runs a 1-3 match the stack or a 2-5 match the stack. That's a little bit smaller than this, and they do a really good job. Mike Youngblood and Aaron McAvoy on Sunday nights. Well, Sunday nights is a tournament final table, but Monday nights and Thursday nights.
So here's a hand that I think it would have been interesting. If I was in Dan's spot with those aces, I would probably call there to open up somebody squeezing because
especially when you see
Donkey.
When you sit here for 30 minutes, you see how often people are squeezing.
Yeah,
maybe that is a good time to.
And then Donkey's light, so people would want to squeeze Donkey a lot.
Yeah, now you're playing aces middle position against 3 other players. It's not the comfiest position to be in, especially with a flop like that. John Ryan just smashes it for all his draws. Technically, aces are still ahead, but there's a lot of dangerous turn cards that come for Danny here.
Yeah, and once he 3-bets there, he pretty much has to commit to playing his hand unless it comes like 10 Jack Queen or something. Like this flop, he can't get away.
Yeah, and I doubt Danny's never getting away for 2,200, especially with Donkey betting 425. But he doesn't feel great about it. I mean, against 3 other players, like he knows he's going to have to dodge a lot, and he's just going to shove here.
I think Donkey, you could say Donkey saved him because by Donkey betting out, he don't mind getting it in with Donkey. Donkey's range is very weak.
Yeah.
So, but if he bets here, if Donkey didn't bet and Dan bet and he gets called, the turn will bring a lot of tough spots for him, and where because Donkey bet, now he could get his money in. which saves him because now he has no tough decision left. So he got saved by donkey
Right.
in terms of a tough decision.
John Ryan's got a decision here. Like, he sees that he's got so many outs here and probably assumes that his draws are good if he hits them, but he's going to have to really make an overcall here.
And then because donkey bet out, he's in a tough spot because now he don't know what donkey's going to do. So you could say donkey's saved.
And he's got 13K behind. If he calls and then donkey could really put him to the test on the turn.
Here's the thing is that if he was observant, he would know that donkey cannot have a strong range here. Because if donkey had a strong range here, he would let Dan bet and then bring everybody in, and then donkey could go for the check raise. So when he leads out here, his range is pretty much really capped to a weak range, right? So then, so John should, if he sees that, he can know that donkey doesn't have a strong range. And so because of that, I would probably in John's spot call, give him the dead money.
Yeah. But he still also knows he's just got jack high.
I don't think because he doesn't know that he didn't see that donkey's range is weak.
But they might run it multiple times. Yeah. Danny's in a really good position against ace queen here. Clean turn, clean river. That would have binked John Ryan and he would have scooped.
Yeah.
All right, so here's YG with ace king off, under the gun +2. Standard open, $60. So everyone probably has to reasonably assume that YG is playing a very straightforward linear range.
So I was
I think that's the right term, linear range.
If I was, I guess, wanted in mood to play splashy and gamble, I would probably there you go, 3-bet YG
because he's only going to continue with top.
Yeah, his range is capped. There's always jacks, queens, kings, or ace king. It's not that hard. You just stuck there guessing whether it's ace king or kings or queens. But your guessing is not that hard. You just got to guess correctly.
Right. Braxton 3-bet 175 with ace 10 off in the small blind. Donkey's going to continue. Jack 9 suited in the big blind. YG probably needs to put a 4-bet in here.
Yeah, well,
there's some dead money out there with Donkey's call in between and John Ryan's call.
He's going to 4-bet for sure because he plays strict to the system. He's pretty much a robot. He doesn't make any personal or you could say read fundamental decisions. He just goes with the technicals.
Yeah. Somebody asked if this was live. This is live plus 15-minute delay in order to keep the integrity of the game. None of the players can look at their phone while they're playing, but an additional bit of, I guess, security is that we run this on a 15-minute delay. So it's live for the most part. We're just 15 minutes in the past.
So
I think that's the way to say it.
So Braxton was probably playing his ace blocker, but I think that's really a bad time to bluff because you're bluffing the guy that won't fold no matter what. Again, with that range of under the gun, you're not gonna fold queens, jacks. So why when you 3-bet, you're gonna see a flop out of position against a range that's now crushing yours.
Yeah.
Like if he's gonna 3-bet bluff, he should do it with the 5-6 suited where it doesn't mesh in with YGs. But on an ace high flop, when you 3-bet the hand, then you're in trouble. So that was
makes sense. Donkey's going to float one with Jack 9 with backdoor straight and club opportunities. And there's a pretty good turn card for his flush draw, obviously, but also Ace King further secures more equity against the naked draw.
Yeah, two guys running good. I think YG is running a little bit better than Donkey. Donkey's cooled off a little. I think I don't think Donkey's gonna hit. I think I didn't see YG's bet on the flop. I'm assuming it was one that's standard 15%. I mean 25%.
He bet 300. Donkey called. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's standard. So
you're gonna check back here to switch it up, and Donkey hits Jin on the river, and we'll see if he switches it up. Interesting spot. So he hits his flush.
I think
catches perfect on the turn.
The way YG played, I think he's going to bet because he doesn't put YG on an ace. So YG.
Interesting.
That's a good bet.
So he's going to overbet the pot, making it look like a bluff. I mean, it would be hard to believe that he's got clubs here. Like it would take him to go perfect on the turn in the river with naked clubs to get a flush there, unless he had like king 5 of clubs or something. There's not many hands that continue that hit a flush there on the river.
YG's tank calling.
Yeah. 2,400. Yeah, that is a good bet because he is going to have to call.
YG's going to call. Like, we know YG. Like, we know what he's going to do and everything. And he doesn't even need a tank here. Just instant call and just fold. But because he knows that Donkey has a lot, there's like, what, 8-7, backdoor, a lot of backdoor flush draws, pair. Donkey's range is weak here. And after Donkey losing that ace-queen hand, I think YG's going to have to pay him off. Now my guess is YG checked on the. Wow.
That's a big fold, man. All right, everybody. That was our inaugural 5-10 No Limit Hold'em stream for TCH Dallas. Big shout out to Tommy for spending the guest commentary time with me tonight. Thank you to all 750 of you that came through and watched the stream. Everybody that got engaged in the chat. Thank you to everybody that donated the super chats. My name's Ben Kirby. Come by TCH Dallas anytime this week. There's big-time action. And be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 6 p.m., same place where we're playing 125 PLO. Thanks so much, everybody, and hope you have a great week and a great evening.